The BlokeBusters podcast is proud to be a member of the Pod Bros Network. You can find us, as well as other fantastic podcasts, such as Pencil and Ink Review, Another Damn Trivia Show, and The Language of Bromance at podbros.com, as well as on most other fine podcasting services. Now sit back, relax, and prepare to share and enjoy the BlokeBusters podcast.
Welcome to episode 80, apparently, of the BlokeBusters podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking about Black Mirror, which technically, when this comes out, will be 2 months ago on Netflix. But I don't care. We want to talk about Black Mirror.
We wanted to talk about Black Mirror, so we're talking about Black Mirror.
What was that in the background?
Oh,
yes, it's someone we decided to rope in because just listening to the two of us talk about Black Mirror would probably be a little boring. So, who do we have on the line here?
Yes, introduce yourself, please.
Okay, my name is Kealeen, and Kealeen Griffin. Fine, Google me, whatever.
Yes. Yep.
I am a fellow podcaster on Soiled Restroom Cinema and Talk Amongst Ourselves. And I have been a huge champion of the Black Mirror, both the new season and the past episodes during the past couple months, and was surprised and delighted when these two blokes wanted to talk about it with me.
Yeah, and those of you that have been following us for a little while, you might recognize that voice.
Yes, that is our first ever guest on a main episode. Yes, we talked about Star Trek Beyond.
Yes, it was going to be Ghostbusters, and then that didn't work out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. I re-listened to that episode recently, and I was like, oh, God, I had such first world problems that day.
Well, that makes for entertaining listening.
Yes. But you know what? Honestly, somebody was talking to me who's a YouTuber, was talking to me about like I want to incorporate women into my audience, but he goes, it really sucks because they're not really included in the conversation that much when it comes to the like comic book nerd sci-fi genre. And I actually brought up you guys as an example and how you brought me on the show and how I was really grateful to have that platform to talk about being a sci-fi nerd. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Welcome anytime.
You're just an example of something positive.
Yeah. We're pew-pewing at that glass ceiling. So.
Yes, exactly. Chips.
Cracks
in this facade.
I know. We'll get stronger lasers in 4 years.
Hopefully.
I
Moving on past all this stuff before we alienate our...
Hey, I could have gone further with that.
Yes, you could. And before you do, how about we talk about Black Mirror?
Yeah, well, all right.
Well, actually, first off, let's just get this out of the way. Follow us on Twitter at BlokeBusters, Facebook.com/BlokeBusters. You can email us, BlokeBusterPodcast@gmail.com, and we have a website, BlokeBusters.webs.com. We are also on Instagram. I haven't updated that in a while, so never mind. You can go find us, but I don't know what the last thing I put out was. So.
You got to word me before you start, because I like to do the stopwatch. We can get you under 10 seconds. I know we can.
I believe I was under 10 seconds.
Without the little interstitials there, I think we can get you in under 10.
I'll tell you, hey, how about I just speed up that section in editing? So
there you go.
It comes to like
the
5
Micro
seconds.
Machines guy. Yeah, you got it. All right, so
Black Mirror. Black Mirror. Now, this is going to be spoilers, just to get that out of the way first of all.
Except for Hated in the Nation.
Except for Hated in the Nation.
Ryan.
If you feel the need, go ahead.
No,
chances are I'll forget.
I can't. I can't. Because it's so good. I can't.
Yeah, we're touching on some of the stuff in that, but definitely not any real spoilers there. And it's mostly going to be the third season.
Okay.
So just put it on in the background now.
You had one job.
I woke up at 7 a.m. and started watching.
I drive a Dodge Stratus. But no, you asked me last minute. The least you could actually watch the entire season 3.
All but one, okay? If you want to pause for 90 minutes, I'll be right back.
The best episodes of the season, but that's okay.
Well, hey, maybe you should have recommended that one first.
Sorry, yes.
I did!
Wait, I thought you did San Junipero first.
I did, but I thought I said then watch Hated of the Nation.
So that would make that second if we're counting.
Yes.
Chronological.
Okay, children, okay.
All right, yes, Dad, what are we doing?
Let the youngest person in this group
Okay, thank you, Alfred.
Well, we may be older, but I will challenge my immaturity up against anyone.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Understandable. So yes, it will mostly be the third series. We are going to be touching on the 2014 special, and then maybe mentioning the first couple of seasons. But it will mostly be the third series because. Well, there's a lot to talk about in that. So,
certainly. Yeah.
Do
we have any order in which we want to do this, or do we just want to maybe touch on
I think
what
we
our
should do it chronologically.
Okay.
Brian.
Well, it's not my... It is my fault, okay? Stop it. I was about to say it's not my fault, but it is. There's no other way to slice it up. It is my fault.
Okay.
Whatever, Jill Stein. It's all your fault.
All right.
Ouch! You cut me. Cut me. Dude.
How about then we just briefly talk about the first 2 seasons just to kind of give context behind this. So the first 2 seasons, first was from 2011, the second is from 2013, and they were on Channel 4 in the UK. For those of you that don't know, in the UK there are 4 television channels, 5 if you're lucky, that you can get.
They spoil them over there.
Yeah, that you can get if you pay just the television licensing fee every year. And then
their programming is so much better, Brian, than
it
ours.
is.
Oh my god.
Yes, I mean, obviously, BBC One and BBC Two are the ones that have no adverts and all the money from the licensing. It's very odd. You pay a licensing fee every year. The BBC gets all of it. And then you have ITV, which is Channel 3, and you have Channel 4, which is Channel 4, because they couldn't be bothered to come up with any other name for it. And then occasionally Channel 5, if you have a good enough reception in your area. And yes, so Channel 4 does a lot of, they buy shows from production companies. That's also the channel that you would get Friends and The Simpsons and a lot of the American programs on.
Oh, that's
there's a massive.
I watched a lot of that when
going
I was
on
vacation.
About Channel 4, isn't there?
What was that?
Because of the Great British Bake Off, a massive controversy.
Well, yes,
because they bought it away from the BBC.
They did, yes, and what they bought was just the name and Paul. And everyone else has said they're
never
not going.
Mary Berry. Mary Berry is owned by no man.
Yes, and Mel and Sue have agreed to. I think Mel, Sue, and Mary Berry have agreed to be part of a new show that will basically be the Great British Bake Off, but for something else, and will just not be that specific show.
Right.
And yeah, it's going to be interesting to follow that. But anyway, moving back to
keep redirecting.
Yes, I will try. So yes, the first series starts off
strong
with an episode called "The National Anthem," and I'm
also
not even sure I want
the pig
to
effort.
Yes,
yeah, no, also called the David Cameron biopic.
Yes, and so a lot of people's first introduction to this, and it actually the original air date for it has the most viewers out of all 6 episodes, or all 7 episodes that were shown on UK television. And it's about a princess being held hostage, and the only way to get her back is for the Prime Minister to fuck a pig on television.
That old gambit.
Yeah, you know.
We've heard it
Yeah.
And for those of you going, what? Black Mirror, the idea is that it's sort of an alternate future or alternate present, but it's the type of thing where if certain things were to happen, it could actually occur. Like there's a lot of technology that's a bit better than what we've got, a lot of what we might see in 5 years' time. And
2/3 of it is bad.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, 2/3 of it can be used for nefarious purposes, shall we say. So yes, it's definitely, there's a lot of things that you see, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, I can see that, because what this is, it's someone who is a little unhappy, and so he decides, hey, why not get the Prime Minister to fuck a pig?
Yeah.
And yes, that for that very
On
reason,
episode 2.
yes, I believe a lot of people might have been a bit put off by that.
Yeah, that is you're with us or you're not with us, that kind of episode.
Well, honestly, like, I think what turned me off of this episode, oh god, not that anything turned me on about this episode, but
no.
That there had already been rumors about David Cameron, and I think that's why I couldn't watch it. And I know that was probably intentional, like saying like David Cameron sucks, but it's like, okay, David Cameron, it's like, you know, I think what they're dealing with in Britain now in terms of David Cameron is like, you know, not as bad as what we're dealing with, but they look at David Cameron as like their George W. Bush. Like, he wasn't that bad. And so looking at that, knowing that like it was probably based off a rumor about David Cameron, makes me like super uncomfortable, like to think that like somebody actually fucked big.
Yeah, it's a good episode, but it's not one that I would require. Definitely, because there were just parts where I could not look at the screen.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's why I turned it off. Like, I couldn't deal with that.
I had to say, to be perfectly honest, the first season I can do without. I'm not saying that the episodes are bad. It's just I didn't necessarily connect with them. The next
not in the way that I have with season 3. Yeah.
Right. Well, and everybody was so concerned. And the thing is, a lot of it was douchey Americans who were concerned about it being like too Americanized.
Well, I'm assuming it's the next one that maybe they were doing that with 15 million merits, and
thus starts the endless bumming us out.
They were about season 3 being too Americanized.
Well, yes,
because they were actually including like some American actors, and they were like moving locations. But I'm like, they actually used mostly like British actors in this. But the Merits episode, I actually love that one.
It is a fantastic episode, but I was very so on it myself. I mean, maybe it's because I so hate all of those like American Idol or Britain's Got Talent and all of that. Like, I hate that stuff so much. And for the episode to be kind of built around that,
but that's why I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like kind of pointing out, hey, all these people live for this thing, like literally live for this thing. There is nothing else they want, and everything costs money, and everything that you do is either to generate money or to just kind of survive. It's
like reality shows to the average person are now what the Olympics were back in the Cold War era. Like, you know, the Iron Curtain countries, like they basically like it was like a reality show for them. They had to succeed because that would be their livelihood.
Yeah, and this episode, again, not going too far into it, it is just this one guy meets someone and kind of falls in love with her, and she says, "Hey, like, I'd love to be the singer, but I'm not good enough." So he earns enough money to get her onto this talent show, basically.
Oh, because his brother died and left him his merits.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily need to work as hard, but he doesn't do anything. He just keeps going.
Oh, and by the way, like the merits he's giving her are things that he can use for stuff too. I don't know, like get toothpaste to brush his teeth.
Yeah, but again, literally everything that you do requires these merits.
Yeah, and we're not talking about a tube. We're not talking about a tube of toothpaste. We're talking about like a daily squirt of toothpaste on your toothbrush.
Yeah, just 2 merits for that thing, but it's still
what a bargain. Yeah.
Oh, and to skip ads.
Yeah,
yes.
The skipping ads thing was
we're
there.
And let's say, given that this is Black Mirror, it doesn't go well. And so
seriously, this one still is one of the ones that bums me out the most. Man, the ending is just it's brutal.
Well, I think we relate to it the most, which one of the episodes we relate to the most and feels realistic in some sense, which makes it such a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I get behind that. So yes, and let's try and kind of
let's just say the alternative or the reward for doing it's not really a reward.
An episode about becoming the thing you hate.
Yeah. And then the follow-up episode is an episode about someone who is convinced that their wife, I believe it is, I haven't seen the episode in a little while, so I don't remember, it has had an affair, and it kind of just goes downhill from there.
That's the first time in the series we see the eye inserts. And
Netflix actually did a promo mocking that episode.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too far into it just because it is a bit of a bummer. and B,
podcast is going to be really short.
Actually, guys, this is an anthology series, so anything we're spoiling is just for that episode, not for the series.
Yeah.
So that's why we're kind of being light on the stuff for the previous seasons, because you can be bummed out and be surprised all on your own for that.
Yeah, and every single one of these is technically a completely separate universe, as it were, but the technology is the one thing that's kind of the same. Everything has fairly similar technology, if not the same technology, especially in season 3. I think
that's the most cohesive.
That was it. That felt more interconnected.
Yes. So
is that something in the entire history of you? Is that something that you would want, that playback ability?
Never.
You know what?
Not to just say you said this and here, look.
If it was
it
was something where recording video through your eyes that you can then play back, let's say recording the same way you can do on Xbox, where you say record that and it records the previous 15 seconds. So there are so many times, for instance, with my daughter, there are so many times where she did something, it's like, shit, if only I had a camera running this second. I would have caught something that I want to capture, and obviously you can't. So along those lines, but something that constantly records every second.
Yeah.
I don't think you would want that, especially given...
99% of my material is going on the cutting room floor.
I know, and also that, think about every moment in your life that makes you cringe. And for some reason, those are always the most crystal clear memories in your mind. Are the ones that make you cringe. And also, one of the most jarring sequences in Black Mirror was you realized it, but it wasn't really concrete until you see the glassed over eyes, where you realize a husband and wife are having sex. And they're having that, their whole pleasure comes from remembering a previous encounter. But it's not even a previous encounter with other people, with each other.
Oh, yeah.
That shows the disconnect. If that's not an allegory for, the dangers of disconnect from technology, which I don't think is necessarily always true.
Yeah.
But, my God.
Yeah, they are literally going through the motions.
Right.
Yeah. That's such a fucking bummer. God damn it. Season 2.
I was just you knew that's what they were doing, but then to see the visual was just I sat back.
Yeah, this is what they need to do to.
I was like,
we're really building this show up.
I know.
And not in a good way. Okay.
So let's move on to the much happier world of a new husband and wife who the husband is
turning your husband into a sex bot.
Yeah, they've just moved somewhere to start their life anew, and the husband dead. So there's that.
Okay, I have issues with this episode, and not for the reasons people might think.
Okay.
I think people have Haley Atwell blindness to this episode. They think, oh, Haley Atwell, because in America especially, people fangirl on her
Becky Carter.
like to an insane level. And not that she's not worthy of it, but this episode, like, it didn't make sense to me because he was kind of a dick when he was still alive. He was great. Like, he wasn't really, like, considerate of her or anything.
Yes, but one thing I would say about that is clearly she misses him, and even when she gets the facsimile of him back, she still remembers him differently than what it is she's getting, because she keeps saying, well, no, he wouldn't do that. No, more like this. And it's like, maybe she's doing what everyone does, which is remembering all the good things, not necessarily.
And I can relate to that a lot, like missing an imperfect person. But yeah. I didn't feel enough of a connection between them, like the real them, to justify her need to reconnect with like artificial intelligence version of him.
Yeah, and I will say I really, really liked the ending of this episode. I thought the ending of it was deserved. Like, for the,
and we'll keep that. Yeah,
because it and again, I'm not saying what it is, because this is an episode that I think should be people's first introduction to Black Mirror. So I'm not saying what the ending is, but I think it's a good one.
It's not one of my favorites, but I did enjoy it, and I will agree, Kealeen, that like the relationship wasn't really built strongly enough, but I did identify it with her, and I think a lot of us could in this case, of just wanting that connection again of someone we've lost, and what the lengths that you might go to just to. I mean, even though it's not them, but you can.
But I also don't like. I'm just thinking of this now. This is almost kind of obviously a lot deeper. How people talk about a lot about how they look up their like long ago, like what if people on social media, and try to reconnect with them, and it ends up ultimately being like, I had the best of intentions, my feelings, my heart is pure, my feelings are still there, but it just can't work. And in a way, like, this is kind of that.
I know you'll get this reference, Kealeen, but that what you were just saying there reminds me of Leslie Knope Justin trying to find her mom's former lifeguard crush in John Larroquette.
And what?
In Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and he's just a complete oddball. Yeah.
It's just like, like.
Sorry, I'll reach for anyone to throw Parks and Rec into something.
Even at that person. But the thing is, like, it's like it flips the script, like, because usually it's the person who's seeking that what if is the one who is like more evolved and in a better place, and they see that the person that they loved wasn't. And this person is still the same person, but her ideal person is actually more evolved, and she realized she doesn't want that more evolved person. She wants that flawed human who she was married to.
And I find it kind of funny that it's Donald Gleason playing the robot, whereas in Ex Machina, he's the human portion of a Turing test. So it's kind of...
Why was that movie not nominated for Oscars? It was so good.
So good.
It was. What? Wait, wasn't it?
It wasn't.
It had screenplay, didn't it? And
but not in any significant.
No. Yes. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I believe. Because wasn't Vikander nominated that year, but not for Ex Machina?
Yes.
Yes.
I think she should have been nominated.
Yeah, Vikander was for the Danish Girl, right?
Yeah, it was a weird release time where like Ex Machina was released like shortly after the end of award season, and Danish Girl was
towards the beginning of award season.
Yeah.
Always annoying when that happens, but
onto White Bear.
Onto White Bear.
Yeah, this is
Oh my god. This
Wait.
episode will stay with you.
Oh my god, this is like, I warned people against this one. I'm like, because this one will freak you the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. You warn people against it, but you still want
I want them to watch it. Yes, so then we can talk about it.
Again, you want to talk about Leslie Knope reference? Like, read the Jonathan Franzen book, because I need to talk about Patty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Fell flat.
And so yeah, this episode features people known very well to people that watch British television. You've got Lenora Critchlow, who was Annie Sawyer in the English and, to be honest, superior Being Human.
Oh, way better. No question.
I mean, I've gone at length to explain why that's one, but anyway. And then you've also got Michael Smiley.
Oh, I love Michael Smiley.
Gotta love some tires.
Yeah.
And for those of you that have no idea what we're talking about, go watch Space. Just do it, and then come back. You'll know who he is. But yeah, so this episode, and again, I'm not going anywhere near the end of it, is an episode about someone who wakes up and has no idea where they are or why everyone is watching her. And she tries to find out.
But there's a gang of people in masks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just watching.
There were moments that I just found utterly terrifying. And it had, like, not a whole lot scares me in scripted stuff.
Yeah.
But I was truly scared for her. Yeah.
If you like The Purge, you will love this. And I feel like I feel like the payoff is even more satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
not in a way you're comfortable with.
No. And again, I'm trying to figure out a way of saying this without spoiling it. But the ending is really ambiguous. Like there's something in the ending that you genuinely don't know whether or not it's one way or the other, and that is what makes it so terrifying.
And it's one of the best episodes. This is one that may give you, like, if you have a certain view on certain policies in terms of criminal justice, it may make you rethink your point of view.
Yeah. And we definitely need to stop there because we're getting very close to spoiler territory. So.
Yeah. Time to move on. Yeah, we need to pick up.
I wasn't going further.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I think.
Or else I would end up tied to a chair with my eyes open and whatever.
Yes, a la McDowell and Clockwork Orange. But anyway, so.
All right.
Moving on to the
2016 presidential election.
Oh, God.
Yes, and. Yeah, I watched this before that all went down, and I kind of want to watch it again.
Oh, no.
No, I know.
It hurts too much.
But yeah, basically, this episode, there's an election going on, and there's this television show where there's a cartoon person who the entire stick is that he's crass and will just make fun of everyone and everything, and somehow he ends up on the ballot. And the question that the person playing the character
how did we not see that coming?
Yes. The question that the person playing the character is asking, as well as most of the other politicians, is how did this happen? And what's going on?
I think this actually might be my least favorite of the whole series. I thought that another episode we'll get into later was, but this was so the least cohesive. It feels like it underwent like a lot of rewrites because like the narrative is so muddled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was never like 100% invested in the story at any point. So yeah, it's one of my least as well. Like
I felt for the dude, I really did. Mm-hmm. And but like all the characters were so like, and I get this is, I mean, it's kind of realistic, like maybe that's my issue. Yeah. It is actually it in terms of human relationships and the messiness of loyalty and necessity. It's actually very realistic up until the end, and that's why it doesn't work. It's actually a really good. If it, like, I would actually watch a series based on this and the problems based on him being like this identity being placed on his shoulders. Like, it would be interesting in that way, but it doesn't work in a single episode.
Yeah, and just looking up information about this episode, it was originally an idea for a previous TV project by Charlie Brooker and Chris Morris. So
it would be great.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think
maybe in our current political climate. Okay.
Hey, there we go.
Freudian slip.
You stumbled on gold there.
Yeah.
I was.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna tweet the shit out of that. Like hashtag political climate.
I was thinking a while ago about the whole political thing that's going on now and previously that one of my favorite TV shows, The Newsroom. I wish that was on now. About this now, because I think you could get some really good episodes out of it.
People have been having like binge watch West Wing and other Sorkin.
Veep. Yeah, Veep is.
Oh, Veep was like giving me therapy before the results.
Yeah, I came to Veep pretty late, but it was still before election time.
I actually got through Omaze Jonah H. Ryan. Jonah Ryan for Congress shirt.
Oh God!
And it it went to the LA Public Schools for the Arts like proceeds, but it was that logo.
Oh, that's so
like,
good.
why does it look like John A. Ryan?
John.
I own that shirt.
Oh shit! God damn it!
It's actually on my.
So good.
It's on my Instagram on the gram.
All right. I don't know. Yeah. I have an Instagram, but much like the BlokeBusters, there's some tumbleweeds on there.
Actually, Snapchat was what got me back, like actually Instagramming, because I like, oh God, I am living in an episode of Black Mirror. I'm like, oh yeah, I Instagram my Snapchats.
Well, you're not alone.
Well, we're definitely going to hit on the episode in particular in a minute. But
okay, so are we to the Christmas?
I'll say yes. We're now moving into the area where we're actually going to give like spoilers and stuff because I want to talk about this one. White Christmas, the 2014 special. This is joint for me my favorite episode, just because of the stuff it touches on. I mean, John Hamm, John Hamm is John Hamm.
I'll look at John Hamm for an hour. That's okay. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
I did. Like,
I really like him from.
You know how people say they like would listen to people read the phone book? I'll look at a phone book full of John Hamms. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'd say I'm a huge fan of John
I want
Hamm.
Morgan Freeman to narrate a phone book about John Hamm.
But all he's doing is just reading the name John Hamm over.
Yes. Oh, okay. That's we got something there.
I've been a big fan of John Hamm since I saw The Doctor's Notebook and other stories with Daniel Radcliffe, and very well done. And this starts out as John Hamm and Rafe Spall, who for now will be known as Matt and Joe. They are in this random outpost somewhere. They've been working together 5 years, and Matt really wants to know why Joe took the job. So we get this story about what happened to Joe before he took the job. It's Matt first. Matt goes first, and he says, "Well, hey, this is what I do," and he makes artificial intelligences, which you find out are actual people's intelligences duplicated.
First,
and
his other job was he was mystery as the pickup artist.
Yeah. Oh my God! Get out of my brain. That's what I was thinking. Like, okay, but it's
minus
also,
the top hat and the goggles.
But it's also like it's kind of like a twist on the technology from the
season one,
the Contact from yes, and because like these contacts or whatever are acting as like basically GoPros in your eyes.
Yes, and yes, he is. He's Hitch, basically.
Right.
He's talking this guy through a date, which
He's
doesn't
but
go
it's also
well.
a mystery because he's kind of a scumbag.
Yes, he is. I mean, You start off and it's him talking this guy through. And then you find out there's 6 other people watching him talking this guy through, and they're all watching this stream. And then he finds someone who is a bit of an outsider, and yes, it ends very, very, very badly for the person.
No second date,
watching.
let's say.
Yes.
There's no.
The date ends about as badly as it could.
Yes, and so as a result of this very bad ending, he needed to leave because his wife leaves him and takes the daughter, and so he took this job at the outpost to get away.
Oh, but we need to actually point out this is not really a spoiler. The technology that forces him to leave.
Yes, basically what people can do in this day and age is they can block people, and what that does is that takes that person and makes, when they look at you, all they can see is this staticky outline, and they can't hear you.
And they sound like a parent in the Peanuts universe.
Yes, yeah, it's like the adults in the Peanuts universe. And you know what's really interesting is right after I watched this episode, I kept hearing like friends of mine talk about how they wish that could be a real thing, and I was like, you need to watch Black Mirror.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely good and bad things about that.
There's a couple people I'd do that to. Not many.
But then, after this story, he then says, well, this is what I actually did as a job. This is what I do. And so he is someone who duplicates the memories and personalities of people, and then... Oh,
by the way, this episode is rife with Game of Thrones cameos, if you're interested.
Yes, I'm sure other people can list them off as we're going through.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the tragic Game of Thrones characters.
Yeah, and we're not done with Game of Thrones characters. When we get into this season.
But yes,
I know.
He makes this AI, which is an actual just eye of someone, and this AI or I thinks that they are that person, but they're not. They're a duplicate. So what this guy's job is to break this intelligence so that they will do whatever it is that they are meant to do.
You know what it reminded me of? Do you remember not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Mike TV, when you're shrunk down?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it reminded me of. The visuals reminded me very much of that.
I can't believe I didn't make that connection.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where the scene, and John Hamm, this is every half hour of his day. Like, this happens so many times a day, every day. It's water off a duck's back to him. He takes this person who is screaming at him through this earpiece that they're real, they want to go back, and he blocks them from everything for 3 weeks.
Zero stimulus.
And comes back.
Well, he has the ability to manipulate time with these clones.
Yeah, so 3 weeks is actually 30 seconds to him, and he's just like do 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 do.
But I mean, Guantanamo's like rubbing their hands together like Mr. Burns going, I get my hands
how can we do this? Yeah.
And so when he comes back and he's like, hello, you there? And it's like, oh, thank God you're back. It's like, okay, so you're gonna do your job now? No? Okay, 6 months.
Yeah, fuck that.
And so yeah, when he comes back after another round of do 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 do, and yep, she is broken. And she will do everything.
They swipe left like Tinder, and it's like 5 years.
Yeah. So and then you see the entire point of this was so that this copy of this person will make sure that this person can get up in the morning and their toast is done the way they like.
Turning your clone into Siri.
Yeah. And it is something that in the near future could possibly it questions where's the line of like when is someone alive? And then you jump into Joe, who was in a relationship with someone, and he finally starts to tell you what happened in that relationship to someone.
Oh my God, this you want to talk about like moral gray area?
So yes,
Let's talk about it.
we will talk about it. So yes, what happens is he realizes that the person he's in a relationship with is a little withdrawn. It's after a dinner party with some friends, and then you find a positive pregnancy test, and she said she doesn't want the baby. And because he's a little annoyed by that, it ends up with him getting blocked.
Well, but they show flashbacks from his past.
They do.
And they implied that he was like, you know, he was problematic and got too drunk. Yes. And maybe it was his behavior that was why she didn't want the baby.
Yeah, obviously he's blocked, and so it's like, okay, like it'll be a temporary block, and then no, it isn't. She leaves without taking it away. She
goes to the court.
Yeah, not yet, because like she leaves, he sees her silhouette later, like the block's still on, and she's pregnant. So like she is going through with the pregnancy, but he can't get a hold of her to talk to her because the block's still in place. So he gets arrested because he's trying, and then yes, the court legally blocks him from seeing both her and the child once the child comes, because any block from a parent automatically blocks the child as well. And so he ends up following her, actually. Very stalkerish.
Well, but you know what? I mean, if you're like, that's what's dangerous about this type of technology, is that, you know, you cut off somebody to the point where they become fanatical about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wants to be somehow in his child's life. I mean, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Well, she gave him. Well, my issue is she gave him no explanation other than I'm like, and because like even if she had said like I'm keeping it, but stay away, like that's fine. But she said I'm getting rid of it, stay away. And then he tried to say, "You're pregnant. Oh my God.
Yep.
What's going on?" And she goes like, and she's still like, "Stay away." She gives him no explanation as to why she's keeping it.
Yeah.
I had issue with that as well.
Like this is why this whole subplot is like massive moral gray area.
Yeah. And especially when you find out what happens afterwards, because she ends up dying in a train crash, which means the block is gone. And he has left a present every Christmas for this child that he can't see. Literally, he cannot see.
Yeah, also, it should be mentioned, the child, through the court order, once it's born, will have that same block on it.
Yeah, and even in photos. You can't
that
see
is
the
so,
person.
You can't even look at a photo of your kid like that.
I just like this episode was very obviously kind of demonizing like a woman trying to like cruelly save her pride, which I mean, I don't understand the motivation for her not telling him the truth.
Yes, which obviously you get to see once he realizes the block is gone. So he goes to the place where they have been living with her father, and you find out that the child isn't his and is most likely
his best friend, like his former best friend.
The couple you saw
flirting with her on multiple occasions. Yeah.
Yes, so he gets a little annoyed about this.
A little peeved, a little perturbed.
Goes into the house and ends up fighting with the father of the woman and accidentally killing him by the unfortunate trope of, I pushed you and you've fallen over and hit the back.
Oh, yeah. It was like,
Yeah, I'm going to $1 million baby you.
Or less violent, unfaithful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the snow globe. Oh, yeah.
And to be honest, I'm going to stop there with the plot because there's one extra thing that it continues on, and there's more plot.
That kind of brings it all together.
And I don't want to go into that, just in case anyone is listening to this that hasn't seen it yet. Because
that would like to heard everything else we said.
Yeah, I really was not expecting the final twist. So yeah, we're gonna leave that.
Yeah, leave that for you guys to discover.
Plus,
Merry Christmas.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yes. And, on top of the fact that if we go this far into all the episode, this is going to be a 2-hour long.
So we gotta pick up the pace here.
And I'm afraid this is where we must leave you. Join us next time on BlokeBusters, where we delve into the even murkier waters of Season 3 of Black Mirror.